Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be flying the X-Crafts Embraer E145XR from Houston all the way to Lafayette, Louisiana if I'm not mistaken. So it should be a nice about hour 10-minute flight. Shouldn't be all too bad. So yeah, this is the Aero X scenery. I have heavily modified this just to get it to run due to the frame rates being really bad. Tried messaging the developer on this, that I fixed it, but I haven't gotten any responses yet. So hopefully they get back to me on that. Hopefully I can get this sent to them. But anyways, let's jump into our beautiful 145XR. And just a quick disclaimer, I'm not an Embraer pilot, so if I make any mistakes, I sincerely apologize. I don't fly this plane in real life, nor do I really fly any planes in real life, at least airliners. So just get our checklist open and let's get this flight set up. First things we want to do is we want to check all of our circuit breakers. None of these are operational, so we're going to assume that everything just works. Radars, we have it off on both sides. Gust lever is, or our gust lock is locked. Gear is down. Spoilers are closed. And our flaps are fully up. So everything seems good there. Pretty sure yeah, I do have everything connected. Great. Okay, batteries, let's get the boat set to auto.
Auto unit, okay.
And the avionics master, we want actually display 2 on instead of display 1, just so that this one turns on.
Once again, welcome aboard. My name is Esri, and I'll be assisting you in the cabin today.
Let's go to our systems page on electric, and our GPU voltage is under 29 volts, so we are allowed to use it. So let's go select GPU, and let's turn both of our avionics masters on. Set our shed bus to override on both, and our fuel pump, let's go pump 2 on.
Federal regulations require that
And
all
our
passengers
AP bleed
be aware
is
that the flight deck door
off
is located
and it
in
is
front of
closed.
the aircraft. No unauthorized persons may attempt to enter the flight deck, and passengers may not contribute to the area around the galley.
Start it up now. So let's just go up here real quick. Let's do a quick fire detection test. You get all the necessary warnings. So let's go back up here. Now let's start our APU. So let's set it to on. Wait for that to go from flashing to solid. Now let's set it to start. Everything's starting up. So wait for that to start, then we'll wait 3 minutes. Come back over here though, do a quick CVR test. That seems to work. So let's go over here. In case we get our nav light on, emergency light can be armed. Everything else seems to be in a proper order for today's flight so far. Quick, let's just go to ground with balance. Let's request our load sheet. And let's load our plane. Now that everything's loaded, we get the no smoking and fasten seatbelt signs on. We don't need our fuel truck. That can go away. And we'll say that everything's loaded on, so we don't need the loader anymore either. Alright. Everything seems to be in order there. And our APU seems to be fully started. So let's actually just wait 3 minutes. And after 3 minutes, as long as everything works, we can turn on the bleeds. So let's go down here to our FMC. Now let's get everything set up for the flight. So looking at our database, everything is active. Today is April the 29th. And this is all the way until May the 14th. So let me get my SimBrief pulled up on the side. Go to our position page, load GPS 1, go to our flight plan. Today's flight is from Houston, KIAH. Should be the KLFT if I'm not mistaken. Yep, KLFT. Let's get that set up. Now that that's all set up, let's go to our departure page. And for our departure runway, we're expecting runway 15 left. And from 15 left, we're expecting Gumby 3. And transitions to Lima Charlie Hotel. Activate that in there. And then after that, we have V20 to micro. So V20 to airway. And then have RO, micro. Everything set up there. And then it's just direct to the arrival airport. Let's go into our nav page, arrivals. We actually don't have any arrivals. This is a 1 hour flight. Let's just get a runway in here. And if the weather changes, then we can change this en route. Do an ILS for 22 left today. That should be all set then. Everything looks good there. Go to our performance page. I'm not sure we necessarily need to change anything here. Our cruise speed is going to be Mach 0.76, so everything seems all good there. Our initial cruising altitude, and actually our final cruising altitude, is going to be flight level 170 for today. And our winds for today's flight are going to be 263.31. Let's get that in the box. And fuel should be about right. I don't see any problems there. Alright, now that we have everything set up, let's take a look at our weather information for today. We'll get everything plugged in. So actually, we have Abby tab over here. But I think so. Kilo India Alpha Hotel, our departure airport. So we have 97 feet, is our elevation. And our weather, we got variable at 6 knots. We'll go 0006. Temperature is 29 and our dew point is 22. That was active, 29. And then our QNH 29.90. Let's get that in as well. Let's do a D-rated takeoff. We have a lot of space to work with, so I'm not too concerned, and it'll be 15 left. Let's compute that. We should get our results. Alright, pretty good. For today's flight, I'm actually going to be using Chartbox. I don't have any active subscriptions from Aircraft at the moment. What I did do though is I did take ARAC data from the FAA and I put it into the simulator. I will be making a video about that at some point on how to do this, since it's free ARAC data which you can use. And that you can use something like Chartbox for your charts, which they are Lido charts, and although I do prefer Navigraph charts more, I gotta make do with what I got so far. So I'm just gonna look at the airport diagram. I have this separately on an iPad. Today we're at Terminal B, and we're at B12, so our taxi shouldn't be all too difficult. Let me look at the maps over here. I don't know why none of these taxiways are here for some reason. They're all gone. It's so weird. But anyways, we'll basically be taxiing out here. We'll continue down this way on taxiway Bravo. Make a right turn onto Whiskey Bravo. And then we'll get on the runway here at Whiskey Whiskey or Whiskey Victor. It's actually really interesting. When I flew into Houston the first time, I was talking to the pilot. It was on a 737 inbound from Chicago. We actually talked about how it's really interesting how the taxiways, the first letter for the taxiway designates if it's on the north, east, south, or west part of the airport. So it's really cool how you have taxiway Bravo here, but it's on the west part, so Whiskey Bravo. It's really cool, and I don't know any other airports that really do that. Comment down below if you do know, but I think it's pretty cool. Anyways, really quickly, looking back at the sim brief, you want to be off the ground at 19:05. So we have plenty of time to get through this, so we can take this nice and slow. We want to try to get out of the gate though in around 20 minutes. And anyways, now that 3 minutes have passed, let's go back up here. We're going to do re-white and open. That'll set up the packs. But anyways, looking at this, we'll be taking off to, and we're going to 1,700. Our top altitude for today is going to be 16,000. But our initial climb will be to 1,700. So let's get that set up. I'm not doing VATSIM or anything. I don't know this plane that well to take it on VATSIM. So today we're just going to be flying it on our own. Anyways, let's get on our speeds real quick before I forget. So V1 today is going to be 125. Rotate 134. V2 138. Whoops. V2 138. And 166. Alright. So now that that's all set, we should have it all over here, which we do. And then real quick, when we look over here, if I'm not mistaken, nope, I'm going crazy. When we look over here, go to our MFT, sorry, systems, and we go to takeoff, see that our takeoff mode is set for takeoff 1. So up over here, what we're going to do is we're going to hit this button right here. So we're going to do alternative takeoff 1. Our reference takeoff temperature, which is our outside air temperature. In this case, it's 29 degrees. And we won't be using anti, so that can be off. Set that takeoff. And when we get on the runway, we can just hit takeoff or takeoff roll. CRJs, specifically the 700, if I'm not mistaken, you would get takeoff, but in this case, I think you'll get roll takeoff. Yeah, let's get this set up for our FMC. Real quick, let's actually look through our flight plan over here. So, to do that, we're going to go MFD, joystick, and we're going to hit skip. So let's zoom in real quick. Make sure we have all the waypoints that we want. So we have Houston, we have our departure up to 630 feet. Okay, no, skip, oh right, I need to be in climb mode. There we go. We depart, and we have our departure 600 feet. And we got Critman, Awesome, Gumby, Horn. We should have reached our top of climb before this waypoint. We got Bling, the Lake Charles VOR, Hayes, Artle, Crisp, Micro, and then we should have our airport is next. But then I have our ILS set up. We might do a visual depending on how nice everything is looking. At the looks of it, we'll go for a micro straight to one of those points and we'll go out from there. Figure that out more as we go inbound. Alright, so everything should be set up for our departure. Let's just get both of the pumps on now. Everything is looking good. So at this point, let's just disconnect our GPU, close the cargo bay, and close our front door. Everything's looking good here. And let's just get a pushback set up now. We have another about 10 minutes for our expected departure time. So in that time, I will get the charts ready.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
On the side. Alright. I have all my charts prepared. Should be good to go. So let's get last minute stuff set up. Get our barometer to 29.90. Everything there is all set. Let's just go back here to our checklist and complete everything. So bus ties. Should be auto in this case. So GPU is disconnected. Everything here has been checked. We did our fire detection. Guess we could do our flight controls now. So to get our gust lock off, we'll push that up, wait till this starts flashing. What we'll do is we'll pull our yoke back once it starts flashing. We'll drag this all the way forward. And we'll just test our systems. So up, down works, left, right should work. So that all works there. Our autopilot, I don't know how we would test this. I guess we could do that.
Autopilot.
And then I guess we could do our ice protection test as well. Give us some messages. Okay. That seems to work. And then before start, let's make sure everything is set. So parking brake is on. Our emergency lights, those are armed. Batteries are both set to auto. I don't know why I can't close this. There we go. Take up our electrical power. We're on APU. Nav lights are on. Our hydraulic pumps are both off over here. MFG and system pages, everything's been checked there. Nav and radios, don't really need to worry about that. Our trim, guess we can test that for all axes, and our trim should be set 7 to 8. So that seems to work. Won't really be using any rolled trim, but both of them seem to be working. Get that set to 0. That all works. KIAH, can test it. No, I guess we can't. There's no test mode here. Pressurization. Everything's been set there. Seatbelt sign and no smoking, both of them are on. Our stereo light, let's get that on actually, since we'll be departing here shortly, and our APU is also on. So now that we're basically set for pushback, might be 10 minutes early. But let's call our tow, and let's get pushback from the gate now. So let's get that underway. Let's just check over here. Let's get these cones out of here. We don't need any of those. Everything seems to be all set. So here comes our pushback tug. He's gonna get us all connected here. Don't mind him clipping through all of this stuff here. We'll see how this goes.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect. Winching strap and adapter in position. Release parking brake when ready to start pushback.
Let's release that parking brake, and it's going to drag us forward. Back to the cockpit for this. Make sure our door here is closed.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
So what you'll notice here is when we look at our hydraulic pages, is what engine 2 is and engine 1. So we want our steering. That means that we're going to have to start up engine number 1. So in this case, just going to put it on and press and hold for start, and we'll see this starting up. Now let's just watch our engine start up. Actually, that reminds me, we need our beacon light on. Does it even say beacon light here? Oh, it's in our pushback checklist, I see. Right, fuel pumps are both on. APU bleed is open, everything else is set. Let's get you set to HEC. I feel like getting out of here might be hard. I don't want to clip that light. Although I feel a little pushback might clip it. I really hope it doesn't. Oh no, you might clip it. Oh, nice catch. Okay.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Anyways, now that we have our parking brake set,
Disconnecting tow. Stand
let's look
by.
over here. We have more than a 22 on N1. Our ITT is still rising. So I'll just wait for that to fall a little bit. Everything should be set up here. So let's get our hydraulic pumps on.
Federal law prohibits smoking in the aircraft cabin and lavatory at any time. Tampering with,
In this case, let's get you set to auto.
smoke detector is prohibited.
Let's get everything set up like that.
Insert the metal clip into the buckle.
Get our windshield lights, or our windshield protection on. Instead of windshield lights,
Tow is
windshield
disconnected and
protection.
bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see
Pitch
you
trim, we
next time
want
and
7
have a
and
safe flight.
8. We have 7. APU, we'll get that off later. We are going to do a single engine taxi, so we're going to need it for later. But let's get our taxi light on. And let's just wait for this guy to pull off to the side. Let's just hit the takeoff button. We got roll takeoff.
When placing the mask over your nose and mouth, secure it with the elastic band.
Alright.
And tighten the tabs on the side. Even though
Gotta remove the 4 flight clip, so we should be all good to go.
If you're sitting with someone needing a
Turn off that parking brake, turn up engine 1. Let's get flaps set to 9.
In preparation for takeoff, please check to make sure your seatbelt
And
is
actually,
securely
let's
fastened
get this
below
back
the car,
off.
that your tray table is up and locked, and seat
And get our
belts
gust
in their
lock
upright
back
position. All carry-on
off
items
later.
need to be
We're
placed
gonna keep
beneath
it on
the
for
seat in
now.
front of you, and
Let's start a
large
taxi.
Portable electronic devices need to be turned off and stowed. Small lightweight devices must be switched to airplane mode and secured. In a moment,
Alright, so we are on Whiskey Bravo here. Make it right here and turn. Staying under 10 knots, we're at 8 knots making this turn. I just keep going straight. So now, let's just get engine 2 started. I don't know if this is actually the procedure. We're gonna hope it is. Let's get engine 2 started up. Anyways, here we go. We're gonna go above N122 here in a second. So there we go. What do we have here? We have Whiskey Delta. So we're gonna make next taxiway. We're gonna make a left-hand turn. Now we can get all of this. Now that engine number 2 is also on, set you to off. And set you to stop, and that'll stop our APU for us. Everything seems to be all good here. Let's ding the cabin to prepare for takeoff. Before takeoff checklist. Get everything checked here. So everything seems to be set. Flaps are 9 and verified. Flaps are 9 and verified. Brake temperatures have been checked. Should be all good to my knowledge. Good. There we go. Everything there is all set. This is the first flight of the day, so I would be very surprised if this plane was hot. Let's see, is this Whiskey Victor? This is Whiskey Victor, so this is where we're going to take off today. It'll be a little short of whiskey, but it should only be a very marginal amount. Start slowing down here. Runway 15 left. I'll just make sure everything else is checked. So in this case, we've got our gust lock. Want that to be released. Without it, can't move our elevator. It would be really bad to take off without an elevator. We would probably crash, or we'd have to abort our takeoff. Our gust lock is released. Let's do this one more time. That's flight controls. Flight controls left, right. I don't know why it does that with my camera. I think it has to do something with my hat switch. There we go. Left, right. That all works. Transponder TARA. Flight controls are free and correct.
Takeoff okay.
And takeoff is okay. So in this case, let's get our landing lights on. Just turn off our taxi light, strobe inspection light. We'll get that on. Over here. I don't know why it keeps moving it every time I change it. Okay. TCAS shouldn't have any traffic since we're not flying online, nor do we have any AI aircraft. So that should be just fine there. So, now that we're all set, let's actually get a weather radar. Just because of all these clouds, might not be the worst of ideas. So, let's line up. Right is clear, left is clear. This is 15 left. Let's look straight ahead. We got 15, now we got left. Let's look at our departure page here. On my charts. I want to go 230 knots is our speed. So let's line up nicely and let's begin our takeoff. Roll up our power, wait for it to settle, and let's push it to our takeoff thrust. $80 knots. Here we go, V1, I can release my throttle, rotate. Here we go, we can slowly come off the ground. Now that we have a positive rate, let's get gear up, gear up. Now let's get nav set up here. Start making a left-hand turn. Start our climb to 1,700. And after here, we'll climb up to 4,000. So here's 1,700. I'll turn the autopilot on. Got air is also on now. We'll turn off our nose light. That's not necessary. Seem to be all good here. Now that we're speeding up, let's set you to climb. Let's start decreasing our throttle. We want to be at 230 here. Got our heading bug set. Should have done that on takeoff. That was a little mistake there. Too bad though. I've got our flaps up as well. Now let's start a climb to 4,000. Climb with speed. Speed managed climb. Let's just increase our throttle here. We'll tap on the heading bug here. And we'll continue our climb up to 4,000. Let's look at the outside view, see how this plane zooms right past us. I will say, especially with this clouds, it all looks really nice. And I think this might be our screenshot for our thumbnail. Let's get a screenshot saved of that. Very beautiful. So now we're at 4,000. And then for Gumby, we'll climb up to 5,000. And we'll just keep going from there at 230 knots. Should have probably set that. There you go. So now let's climb up to 5,000. Let's increase our throttle here and let's climb up. I'm not quite sure why the plane turns so much like that, but I guess to each their own. We'll start a left-hand turn and our waypoint should be Horn. That should be our next waypoint. And for Horn, we want to start climbing up to maybe 12,000. We could probably keep going up, no problem. We could probably hit 240 knots now. Should be just fine on that. Clouds are looking really nice. This is one of the reasons why I love flying an X-plane. Just the clouds and the lighting all looks very nice. And I'll say, whenever I fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I feel like the clouds are oversaturated. They're blinding me, but in X-plane it just looks a lot nicer, and I feel like you have a lot more variety in the clouds. Granted, the ortho might not be up to par, but still, for what we got, it's all looking pretty nice. I will admit. Continue our climb. We'll just go to our climb page and just have everything there set up. Or you can just continue going out here. So after takeoff, landing gears up, flaps are up, thrust rating has been climbed, ICAS has been checked. Let's check our pressurization. So that should be under here. Right. Or hydraulic pressurization is in the green. And everything here has been set up. And once we pass 10,000, we'll get all the landing lights off. We can actually probably move the throttle just a little more, get a bit of a faster climb. So yeah. So now that we're passing through 10,000, let's get our lights off. And it appears the flight attendant already knows, so I don't think I really need a dinger. And after we pass the Lake Charles VOR, we think we're going to climb up to 17,000 feet. It's really nice to see how you look at the right and you got all the light just bleeding through the clouds because you have this open patch. And then you look left and it's all just so dark. I will admit this line does look a little weird. I don't know if that's because of the lighting or because of the ortho. Either way, this looks really nice, I will say. I think it's because of the ortho though, because it seems to extend out a lot. I don't think that it's a lighting bug. Actually, let's see, can I get our speed up? I can. I set this to Mach, there we go. Let's go maybe Mach 5, 6 should be fine for now. That should be just fine for now. And when we get to Horn, I'll do a quick check on how much fuel we should have. According to the OFP, looking at Horn, we want about 5,000 pounds of fuel. Looking at everything right now, we have around 5,200, so by the time we get there, we should be just fine on fuel. I'm not thinking we'll have any issues there. And we will not be setting our barometer to standard today. So we won't be passing 18,000 feet. Should it be necessary, we might climb up due to whatever weather we might have ahead. Looking at the weather radar, I'm not really seeing anything. I don't know what's up with this. If anyone knows what's up with that, please by all means share. Could be because the weather radar is actually pointing downwards. We might be picking up some terrain. So it just looks straight ahead. I'm not really seeing anything straight ahead, so we should be just fine. And one thing that you might notice about the Embraer 145, 135, 140 is you don't have slats. Instead you have these things over here. Well, I don't know what the name is, and I don't know exactly if the purpose I'm going to describe it has is fully correct. If I'm not mistaken, I watched a video where, I don't know if it was Swing Martin who described this or talked about this, or if it was some other YouTuber, but these just help air go above the wing in a fashion that the plane can fly at slower speeds when it comes to landing. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe it creates some vortices of some sort. Luckily, I'm going to be going into aerospace engineering, so maybe I'll learn more about these. That should be pretty nice to learn about. Yeah, getting back into the cockpit, we're getting closer to Horn over here. We've got 5.1 in the tank. We want about 5.03. So we might have a little more fuel than expected, but I don't think that'll be a problem for us right now. Ooh, was that lightning? What was that flash of light? Really curious. That was either lightning or that was just the lighting engine tweaking out for a second. So yeah, our next waypoint is going to be Bling. And after Bling, we should have the Lake Charles VOR. Honestly, at this point, we might as well just climb up to flight level 170. So let's get that set up. Probably start adding some. There you go. Let's continue our climb out. As I mentioned, very beautiful plane, very beautiful sim. I will say though, I wish that this plane had a little bit more stuff for the price. Like working circuit breakers. But honestly, I don't even think I would even use it. So it's not really that necessary. One problem I have had with this aircraft, occasionally while landing, this could be just because Houston, the airport we departed out of, is a add-on scenery and it's not default. For some reason, the VOR or my arrival, it would look really weird. And I couldn't capture the cloud slope for some reason, which I haven't had that problem at any other airport I flew to. It was only at Houston, so I'm assuming it could be a scenery problem. I think there was one default airport where I've had that problem, but if anything, I would blame that on my user error compared to the airplane just being broken. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So to X-Crafts, I will say, this airplane is really nice, and I've really enjoyed flying this in X-Plane 11. I'm so happy to see all the improvements that have been done for X-Plane 12. But anyways, as we continue our climb, let's look at our arrival airports. Lafayette in this case. So our elevation for landing is 41 feet. Weather 29.904, so we might as well get that set up. So we're not going to be too far from our top of descent here shortly. 29.904, we might have to get that changed as we continue in. Let's increase our speed here. So I don't think we'll be able to fly Mach 0.67 or 7.6 actually. So at this point, might as well just go Mach 0.64 just to be on the safer side of things. One thing that I like about the clouds in X-Plane is it's actually disorienting. In Microsoft, I haven't really found them to be that disorienting. That's their... I don't know, sometimes it's just like this, where you can like kind of see through the clouds. Like sometimes it might look a bit great, but it might look better. I feel like X-Plane just does a better job at disorienting you. If you're not looking at your instruments, it'd be really trippy to look outside. I really appreciate that. Anyways, I'm not seeing any big turbulence, so I might as well, oops, get our, I guess I just can't, there we go. Might as well get our fasten seatbelt signs off for a little bit. What's cool is if we look in the cabin, it actually turns off. That's a nice little detail here. Looking at it as well, the winds 100 at 3. So I believe that landing on runway 22 isn't the worst option. Right, was it 22? Is that where we're going? Yeah, runway 22 left, so that's probably not that bad. So in this case, let me get that chart pulled up here. So ILS, we're localized for runway 22 left. So our localizer frequency is 109.5. Let's get that set up. 109.5. Now let's get everything set up for our landing performance. So let's look at this over here. Let's look at our progress page. I think it would be. So our fuel. Okay. So we're assuming I have 3.8 in the fuel. So let's just look at our weight and balance. So our zero fuel weight was 38.8. So add 3, we get 41.8. Added, what was it, 3.8, right? Or 3.9. Well, let's just add 4. So 38.84, 42.8. So 32,800. Now that we're hitting some turbulence, we might actually get our seatbelt sign on. Flaps, let's see. How's the weather looking like? So we got 3 knots, so we could probably go flaps full. Not expecting any icing. 22 left. Wind. Wind is 100 at 3, 299, so 28 degrees, 100 at 3. 100-3, 299.4. Alright. Let's compute everything. By the looks of it, should be just fine here. use up half the runway. So that's not bad. And just because I'm a little too lazy to send everything here, I'm just gonna send to PFG. We're gonna send all that information. So when we go back here, our MFD and our speeds, everything should be in here. V2 is 150, approach 134. So everything's set up there. Now I just realized, since we're at cruise, let's actually get cruise rated thrust. Forgot to get that set. Let's just check our checklist. I'm pretty sure you might have more to do. So our ice protection test, let's see. Total air temperature is above 10, so we won't be doing those. We can actually get our stereo light off now that we're more than 10,000 feet. Everything here should be all set. Let's just look at our hydraulics. Pressurization is just fine. Any problems there? Electrical, also just fine. Air anti-ice, I don't see any problems there. Everything's looking good. We look back at our checklist. When it comes to our descent, we want our altimeters to both be set to 29er, decimal 9 or 4. 29er, 9 or 4. 9er, 9 or 4. 9er, 9 or 4. Pressurization should be set. I'm actually not too sure how to set that. Do I set that here? Not too sure. I'm pretty sure if it's auto, we should be fine. I know in the CRJ you'd have to set it up on this center screen. Anyways, we'll be descending soon though, so let's get our seatbelt sign on, sting our cabin, and we'll start our descent here shortly down a micro. Start our descent to about the... I don't know why we want to be at 16,000 per micro. That seems... Actually, that seems normal. I guess we could start a descent to about 5,000. Betty, we want to be at 2,100. So I think down to 5,000 should be fine, and we can drop down from there. I'll get this set back to the automatic mode for the weather radar. And going back into the cabin. Now our seatbelt signs are on. That's all very cool. Alright, let's get 5,000 set up here. And then in a moment we can start our descent. And then I'll set our throttle to idle. We'll get going from there. We can actually go on to heading mode. I'll follow what heading we have. We can get on that ILS as well. Yep, let's start a descent here. Now let's also start making a left-hand turn. Go for around 040. Just so that later we can end up just making a turn around and going straight to Betty. We'll go direct to Betty later.
Coming along the inside. Please make sure all of your personal items are securely stowed, either in the seat in front of you or in the overhead bin. Large personalized electronic devices need to be turned off, unplugged, and stowed. While lightweight devices. So yeah, we should be down to 2,100 here in a bit.
Or maintaining that 230. That's just fine. Let's actually switch here for a second. Or, sorry, nav mode. So what we want for our course for landing, we're gonna want, let's see, 216 is what we want. And I'll get that set up in both. ILS1. And I'm blind for some reason. There we go. 216. The R course. We can get you back to our FMS. I'll make a right turn in for Betty here in a moment. We do have ILS set up. Everything's looking good there. Actually start to curb our descent here a little bit. We can get our speed brake retracted. We can add some more power just for maintaining about 230. And then we'll make that turn here in a second. And then we can get it set up for 210. We'll make a little bit of a left-hand turn just so we have a little more space. Now I'll start slowing us down to 210. I'll go over here. Go direct to Betty. Stop, we can hit nav. It should set us direct for Betty. Let's set this to 210. There we go, 210. And that left. That should be where we intercept for the ILS. So everything is looking good so far. I'm not seeing any problems here. And we are at 2,100, so it should be good for Betty. And then our inbound course would be about 171. Mistaken, so we should be just fine. As we continue in, we might as well go flaps 9. Get that in. And then we should be about 20 miles from the airport. So we've got just a few minutes till we land. Yeah, we got around 25 miles. Got a lot of turbulence though. Would not expect the airplane to be shaking that much. Should we make a right hand turn here in a second at Betty? Got a little bit more throttle just so we can maintain 210. We can make that turn. And switch over to nav mode here in a second. Just go heading. And select approach. So then pretty sure we should go nav then. Not mistaken. And we should descend down to 2000 to capture the ILS, which we'll do at laps. So far, everything's looking good. The weather's also clearing up, which is nice. And then when I say that, it starts raining, of course, because why wouldn't it? Pretty sure I do have the airport in sight right over there. It's not too far off. We should reach it in maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But might as well just do the count one more time. Be ready for landing, and we'll go to our landing checklist. We'll say that right once we're ready for landing. Yeah, we can see the airport. I'm pretty sure. I think there's I think at one point there was an option for binoculars here in X-Men 11. I would be just going crazy. And at the airport we're arriving into, it is the default scenery. So we'll see how that looks. Slowly descend down to 2000 so we can capture the glide slope. There we go, we're at 2000. Our approach speed is 134. So we'll slow down to that after we capture the ILS. Should end up capturing the ILS. Glide slope's starting to go down. And here we go, we're on the glide slope. So let's get you set to 134. Let's go flaps 22. Let's go gears up. All looks very nice. And we'll go flaps full. So, landing gear is down, read greens, speed brakes are closed. We'll verify takeoff 1. We have that set, and our flaps are 45 for landing. Missed approach altitude should be set for, I think it should be 4,000, was it? Or am I just going crazy? Yeah. So it's 2,100 is our missed approach. Alright, everything's looking good. And in a moment here we'll get autopilot off, we'll get our yaw damper off, and we'll come in for a landing. And we'll see how it goes. Hopefully I don't slam it, and hopefully I don't float it down halfway. I have a tendency to float it down a lot. So I'll try to get it right on the touchdown zone, but hopefully I won't slam it in the process. One thing I will say though is, because the 145 is a regional jet, it's very easy to land. It doesn't take that much effort, which is very nice. Anyways,
Autopilot.
got our autopilot off,
Autopilot.
got our yaw damper off. We'll continue down to the runway. Now we can probably get our flight directors off. Push the nose down just a little bit more. We're a little high. We've got 3 whites.
Approaching minimums.
Luckily we have a long runway, so I'm not too concerned for this aircraft not being able to stop.
100.
Glide slope, glide slope,
50.
glide
40,
slope, glide
30,
slope,
20,
glide slope, glide
10.
slope, glide slope, glide slope.
Alright, and we're on the ground. Spoilers will go out, and reversers are out as well. And reversers green. I don't know if I was really off the glide slope to get that warning. Maybe it's 80 knots. Bring it back in. Go manual braking. I'll exit off at the next exit.
Cellular services be turned off. If it becomes necessary, the captain may request that all devices be turned off during flight. We'll be moving shortly. Thank you for flying X-Crafts.
I'll just continue down the runway. I'll check the airport diagram. So we just landed at runway 22 left. So we're gonna make a right turn off here, and I'll just continue straight. I just realized I forgot to turn that on, but that's no big deal in the day. Get our landing lights off, get our taxi light on. We can get these lights off now that we're vacated. Let's just stop right here real quick. Do our after landing checklist. Make sure we're just clear of the runway, which we are. We got our flaps all the way up now.
Flight crew, thank you for flying with us today. We hope you saw that we love to fly and it shows, and you enjoy your stay here or wherever your final.
Alright, so after landing, gust lock, we'll get that locked. There we go, nice and locked. Radar, get that standby. And over here we can actually turn that on. We don't need that anymore. Alright, windshield heat off, we don't need that. And exterior lights, we'll get that set, and then we'll get our AQ turned on here. As we can continue to our runway. Get you set to just TA, or ATC on actually. There we go. Let's look at what landing rate we got. By the looks of it, negative 24 feet per minute. We got 1 G. That should be nice. Should have felt nice in real life. Did I turn the APU on? No, I didn't actually start it. So start our APU. Let's continue to our gate. A nice little airplane to fly. I love this. Fast. Do a lot of manual stuff with it. Very nice to fly. Especially because you get to fly to all these small airports as well. I really enjoy that. Slow it down a bit as we're at 20 knots ground speed. We don't want to be going all too fast. The terminal's going to be over there. So we'll have to cross runway 4 left here in a second. We're actually going to cross runway 34. Upon crossing runway 34, we'll make a left-hand turn on Bravo, and that'll take us basically to our terminal. Let's get our landing lights on. As we're going to be crossing active runway, so here's, I guess it's 29 simulator. On my chart it says that it's runway, oh, I misread it. I read the elevation as 34. Yeah, it's runway 1129. So we got, yeah, so left is clear, right is clear. And we have no ATC or any other traffic, so we might as well just cross. Now that we've crossed the runway, we'll be making a left-hand turn here. So I'll get these lights on. Let's make a left-handed turn. Continue on Bravo, straight to the gate. And runway 4 left is here. I'm not even gonna be bothered to turn on my lights. Right is clear, left is clear. Got no airplanes here either way, so it doesn't really matter. Cross this runway. Very skinny runway. Almost like the taxiway we're on at this point. If anything, I feel like this taxiway is actually wider. And we'll get over here to the gate. And we'll just take the first gate that's straight ahead of us. We'll take this right gate over here. Pretty sure that does have DGS. Yep, we got DGS over here. I don't know if this airport does actually have DGS or if it has a marshaller. I'm pretty sure auto DGS works off of a database, so there's a possibility that this uses DGS, not a marshaller. I'm pretty sure we can actually just swap it out, but I'm too lazy to do that. Yeah, I'm too lazy. Yeah, we'll get our taxi light off. We don't blind any ground crew workers. I'll actually set this all to override. We'll be getting the APU on here in a second. Let's make our right-handed turn. Nice and gentle. Let's start slowing the airplane down. It says we should go more right, but I feel like that'll run us off the line. So here we go. Slowing down. Stop. Parking brake set. Go up here. Got our bleeds all set up. Engine 2 and engine 1 can both be stopped. Let's just get these hydraulic pumps off. We could stop both engines. Good. Turn off fuel pump number 1. That's all turned off. We can get our beacon light on. Seatbelt sign can come off. It's going to be set to open. Here comes our jetway. So yeah. It was quite a nice flight. So, thank you everyone for watching this video. And for tuning in for me flying the 145 first time on a video. I hope I didn't mess up too much. If you have any feedback for me, by all means leave it all in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe for more content like this. And comment down below what more you might want to see. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Happy flying.